Hello teacher and friends, my name is Quentin Felicia Oden with student number 21025111110 and let me start this presentation about blood and non-blood sucking flies from SGD B5. Okay, so here are the list of our members before we start our presentation. Next please. Next please. Next. Okay, so here's my name and my student number. Next. And I'm going to start off with the background of our paper. So what is flies? Flies are insects with three body parts: the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. These three body parts coupled with two pair of wings thus classified this category of flies into Diptera. And flies can be annoying sometimes to people because of their flapped wings and the buzzing sounds. But other than that, the most urgent thing we need to know is that this flies is also a factor in vector-borne diseases for flies. And these diseases are especially growing on the developing countries with poor sanitation and poor socialization. I'll leave the rest to be explained by Catherine. Thank you.
My name is Catherine Angela and my student ID number is 210251116. Diarrhea, for example, for children under 5 years old causes 11% death in both all around the world and in Southeast Asia. While in Indonesia, 28.9% of them were hospitalized because of this disease. In Bali, the percentage of those that were hospitalized because of diarrhea is 10%. On the other hand, typhoid fever annually causes 128 until 161,000 deaths all around the world. In Asia, there are more than 10 million cases, while in Southeast Asia, at least 575,000 people need to be hospitalized because of this disease. In Indonesia, this disease has a morbidity rate of 500 per 100,000 of population and a mortality rate of 0.65%. While in Bali, 1,652 people were hospitalized because of this disease in 2017. In the medical field, flies are divided into blood-sucking and non-blood-sucking flies. Blood-sucking flies drink human blood and take in these pathogens while consuming the blood of the infected host and later transfer it into a new host during the next blood meal. Conversely, non-blood-sucking flies do not drink human blood but are still capable of transmitting the viruses, protozoa, bacteria, and other pathogens from one host to another. Some of the most important flies include sandflies, which cause leishmaniasis, black flies, which cause river blindness, and sessile flies, which cause trypanosomiasis.
Let me introduce myself first. My name is Novia Indratmo, and my last three digits of my student number is 119. Based on the background of our research, we have formulated some problems. The first, what are blood and non-blood sucking flies and its examples? What is the morphology of blood and non-blood sucking flies? How is the life cycle of blood and non-blood sucking flies? What is the pathogenesis of blood and non-blood sucking flies? And finally, what are the treatments and preventions for blood and non-blood sucking fly related diseases? Therefore, the objectives of our research are as shown. The first, to understand the definition of blood and non-blood sucking flies and its examples. Second, to understand the morphologies of blood and non-blood sucking flies. The third, to understand the life cycle of blood and non-blood sucking flies. The fourth, to understand the pathogenesis of blood and non-blood sucking flies. And finally, to understand the treatments and preventions for blood and non-blood sucking fly related diseases. As for the benefit of our research is firstly, we are able to understand blood and non-blood sucking flies. And second, by doing so, we can prevent and treat the diseases that are caused by these flies.
Hello Dr. and friends. My name is Luis Felix Juanda with three last digits of my student number 117. I will explain about the definitions of blood and non-blood sucking flies. Blood-sucking flies are the insects that feed on blood. They usually penetrate the skin and leave some infections if they bring some group of pathogens like virus, protozoa, helminths, and bacteria in their body. This allows transmissions of this pathogen between wildlife, domestic animals, and humans. Estimated about 700 human deaths a year caused by blood-sucking flies. Non-blood-sucking flies is the ones that not sucking the blood, but they usually make contact with the source of disease like bacteria in the trash can, trash bin, or other place like that, and they transfer it from the hard access to the easily accessed like the skin of the human, that increase the risk of infection because of the touch and allow the entrance to the body of the humans. Most of the time, flies leave their feces or vomit on the spot they land. There has the pathogen like virus, protozoa, helminths, or maybe bacteria there.
Hello everyone, my name is Madani Lamre Nirmala with the last 3 digits of my student number 106. Now I will continue to explain about morphology of blood and non-blood sucking flies. First, blood sucking flies. There is so many species which classified as blood sucking flies, but now I will explain only 2 of them, Aedes albopictus and Pediculus manus capitis. Morphologically, Aedes albopictus looks almost similar to Aedes aegypti, and both have dark colors, but adult Aedes albopictus has a unique stripe with a longitudinal pattern down the middle of its thorax or scutum. Aedes albopictus is also smaller than Aedes aegypti, specifically less than 10 mm long. The males of Aedes albopictus are known smaller than the females. Aedes albopictus shows a slimmer shape from the base to the tip of its ventral papillae. Other research shows that one of Aedes albopictus has narrower lateral flanges than the one in Aedes sp from Woodgian map, and it has 4 short cibarial teeth too. Classified as a part of blood-sucking flies, the female of Aedes albopictus has an elongated proboscis to collecting blood for the eggs, while the male of Aedes albopictus collects nectar. Next, Pediculus manus capitis or head lice. Egg of Pediculus manus capitis barely visible because of its small size, 0.8 mm by 0.3 mm, and its shape is oval with yellow to white color, while the adult form is 1 mm to 3 mm long. Egg hatches and release a nymph, which looks like a pinhead because of its almost similar size. Morphologically, adult form of Pediculus manus capitis looks like a sesame seed, and the species also has 3 pairs of legs, and each of them equipped with claws. In addition, female Pediculus manus capitis usually have a larger size than males. Usually, adult Pediculus manus capitis have tan to grayish-white color and sometimes appear darker in dark hair. Research state that Pediculus manus capitis has the sensory structure on their mouth parts, and 40 short clypeus bristle and 6 long clypeus bristle were identified on the anterior of clypeus and around the hostelum. On the other side, about 4 short peg epipharyngeal sensilla were also found on the everted hostelum between the epipharyngeal teeth. Next slide, I will explain about morphology of one of species in non-blood sucking flies group, Musca domestica or house flies. Mostly the larvae of Musca domestica species are slender with white in color, legless, and can grow rapidly. Then the larvae migrate and finding a place for protection such as soil or drier place. In this stage, they form a case which looks like a capsule and it called as the puparium. Morphologically, the adult is 4 to 8 mm long, but the other research say it is 6 to 9 mm long. Females of Musca domestica are usually larger than males, and their color is red, but often found gray in thorax with 4 dark stripes longitudinally and gray or yellow in their abdomens with irregular darker median line. They also have reddish eyes, short antennae, 6 legs and 8 segments of the abdomen in male, while 9 segments can be found in female's abdomen. Classified in the order Diptera, Musca domestica have 1 pair of wings to fly and 1 more pair for balance.
My name is Agustin Muradinda Pratyaksa with the last 3 digit as 1 and 12. So now I'm gonna explain about the life cycle of 2 types of blood-sucking fly that are Aedes albopictus and Pediculus humanus capitis. The first one is Aedes albopictus, where the female adult mosquitoes will lay their eggs above the waterline on the wall of a water container such as bathtub or puddle. And when the eggs are covered by the water, the eggs will hatch and the larva will emerge. And this larva will hang on the surface of the water and breathe with a snorkel-like siphon at the tip of their abdomen. This larva will develop and finally become a pupa that also hangs on the surface of the water and breathes air. This pupa phase is a phase where the mosquitoes don't need to feed anything and transform from a larva into adult mosquitoes. After 1 or 2 days, the adult mosquitoes will emerge from the pupa, and these adult mosquitoes usually consume the sweet plant juice or nectar, and only the female one that consumes the blood. Different from Aedes aegypti that live both indoors or outdoors, this Aedes albopictus only lives outdoors and don't fly far and prefer to live near to their food resources. Next slide, please. And the second is Pediculus humanus capitis or head lice, where the female adult head lice can produce 5 eggs per day on average, and these eggs will stick on the hair shaft near the scalp with the super of blue, which is resistant from disturbance, both mechanical or chemical. After 7 to 10 days, the eggs will hatch and the nymph will emerge. These nymphs have size and shape that just like a miniature of the adult stage, and this nymph stage lasts for 8 to 12 days before entering the adult stage. In adult stage, the body of the head lice stops to grow and experiences the sexual maturation, and the adult head lice have a lifespan around 30 days. And because the head lice are not hermaphrodite organisms, they must be mated to reproduce. And mated female adult head lice can continuously produce eggs for the rest life. And that's all from me about the life cycle of blood-sucking fly. Thank you.
Greetings, friends and doctors. My name is Christine Natalia with the 3 last digit of student number 109. Musca domestica are one of the non-blood-sucking fly species. Musca domestica developed its wing during pupal stage and belongs to the superorder Endopterygota. The metamorphosis of Musca domestica consists of eggs, larva, pupa, and adult stages. The life of Musca domestica is mostly affected by the availability of food and favorable temperature. Female Musca domestica usually lay 4 until 6 hatches, and each of the hatches contain 75 until 150 eggs. In order to maintain the eggs and prevent it from cassation, the eggs are deposited in the crevices and use filthy food or garbage as a place for it to grow. As for the male Musca domestica, it has 15 until 30 days of lifespan, and on the day of their emergence, the male Musca domestica are ready to mate, while the female Musca domestica must be 3 days old. Oviposition takes place after a few days of copulation, with the eggs having a pear shape and a white color with a size from 1 until 2 mm. Within a day after oviposition, eggs are hatched into larvae, and then within a week, the larvae develop into 3 larval stage or instars. 3 maggots without leg with 3 until 9 mm long and a whitish color feeds on the dead and decaying organic material with its lifespan from 14 until 36 hours. From this point, after the completion of their 3rd instars, the maggots will crawl into a drier and cooler place to change into pupa.
The color of the pupa itself are reddish or brown with 8 mm length. After 5 days, the pupa will change into an adult Musca domestica and complete its life cycle within 3 weeks.
Hello doctors and friends, my name is Jovita Theodora Liu with the last 3 digits 114. Now I will explain to you about the pathogenesis of blood-sucking flies. There are many types of blood-sucking flies and each of them have different pathogenesis. One example from blood-sucking flies is Leishmaniasis or sandfly. This fly sucks blood from the infected vertebrae and absorbs the mastigotes. They migrate into the insect-sucking apparatus and parasites are set into the skin of the host. The parasites are phagocytized by macrophages. The parasites manipulate macrophage, so there is no immune response to the parasites and infect the cells, resulting in the visceral leishmaniasis and the cutaneous leishmaniasis. For the visceral leishmaniasis, they multiply and disseminate through the lymphatic and vascular system. They infect other mononuclear cells in the reticuloendothelial system. The results are hepatosplenomegaly and lymphadenopathy. The bone marrow also affected, resulting in pancytopenia. The parasites manipulate macrophage, so there is no immune response to the parasites. For cutaneous leishmaniasis, the parasites infect the skin and make lesions that can change over time and sometimes can be painful and painless. Another example for the blood-sucking flies is tsetse fly. The main pathogenesis for this species are anemia, tissue damage, and immunosuppression. The parasites multiply and provoke a local skin reaction or canker. They enter the bloodstream directly or through the lymphatic system.
Hello doctor and friends, my name is Grace Veronica Wijaya with 3 last digit of student number 1 and 13. Next please. Now I'm going to presentation with the pathogenesis of non-blood sucking flies. I want to give 2 examples from them. First is Musca domestica or known as housefly and the other one is Ceratidis capitada or known as fruit fly. Let's start with the housefly. The pathogenesis of the housefly can be seen from its lifestyle, which often perches in places where the pathogens are stored, such as garbage, feces, or animal carcasses. In addition, free and unrestricted movement make the spread of pathogen easier. The next one is Ceratidis capitada or known as fruit fly. The pathogenesis of the fruit fly is destroying fruit by laying its egg in the fruit.
Okay, so good morning, teachers and friends. Let me introduce myself. My name is Stanislav Kotumang Srikanata with the last 3 digits of students numbers 115. So I'm going to tell about the prevention about the blood and non-blood sucking flies. Blood and non-blood sucking flies have quite a unique relationships regarding to humans or mammals, where they can be a direct parasite or as a host for any other pathological microorganisms or as we thought a vector. Due to the scarcity of the pathological effect treatment, humans need to find the way to control and prevent more cases of pathological conditions caused by these parasites, which is blood and non-blood sucking flies. One of the steps on controlling and preventing the effect caused by blood and non-blood sucking flies is to cover up any parts of the exposed skin or body as much as possible. Blood and non-blood sucking flies will less likely to cause pathological conditions if human wears long sleeve shirts, pants, shorts, socks, and maybe closed shoes in order to minimize the targets for blood and non-blood sucking flies. Another way to prevent blood and non-blood sucking flies is to provide our body exposed with insect repellent. Applying insect repellent is an effective way to prevent blood sucking flies as they are more intolerant rather than arthropods sucking blood. These insect repellents have certain chemicals that have already been tested for repellency, which are the IR3535 and the DEET. The recommendation from the WHO and the EPA repelling test is 1.67 milligram per centimeter square of the exposed skin in your body for applying this insect repellent in order for it to work effectively for 6 hours. That's all from me. Thank you.
Let me introduce myself. My name is Zafira Kumaladewi with the last 3 digits of student number is 122. Now I will continue the explanation about the prevention. Next, for indoor purposes, well-screened and good air circulation are needed to be maintained in order for the flies not to breed and live in the same place as human. In high-intensity flies area, the use of insecticide thermal fogging and bed nets are more critical since humans need to protect themselves from any incoming blood and non-blood sucking flies. And the last is to maintain clean and good hygiene. Make sure to empty bins and other trash that may emit odors. This is an effective way to control the growth of flies because they are attracted to odors of decaying materials such as old organic trash and others. Also, the presence of polluted water and muds could be the main habitat for flies as place to produce more offspring.
Okay. Greetings to doctors and friends. My name is Abel Mandal Sinipar with 3 last digit numbers 118. Okay, so now I'll be telling you guys about the treatment for both blood and non-blood sucking insects. Okay, so first of all, for blood and non-blood sucking insects, there are some differences in the treatment that we could have done. Usually, when a house got a bite from a blood sucking insects, there will be a minimal trauma, and often the house wouldn't feel the bite. Otherwise, some ice applications and systemic antihistamines is the most is some of the best symptomatic treatments for the bites. For non-blood sucking flies, supportive treatments such as cleaning the area with soap and water and having an ice pain management and tropical local as an applications could be done. Also, for some specific insects like flies, which have painful bites, some supportive treatment with a symptomatic care like washing the wound and giving an ice applications, pain control, and NSAIDs. Also, for the itching, giving a systemic antihistamines will be the best care, will be the best treatment. Okay, so thank you. I'm letting my friends to continue. Thank you. Have a nice day.
My name is Dibana Sifa with last digit 121, and I'm going to tell the conclusion of this whole paper. Factors is an organism that helps the spread of diseases caused by viruses, protozoa, helminths, and bacteria. The most common factors are flies. There are two types of flies, such as blood-sucking flies and non-blood-sucking flies. Each fly has a different morphology, for example, the morphology of Aedes albopictus. Aedes albopictus has dark color, has a unique stripe with a longitudinal pattern down the middle of its thorax, and shows a slimmer shape from base to the tip of its ventral papillae. There are also different morphology between male and female Aedes albopictus. The next example of blood-sucking flies is Pediculus humanis capitis, as the cause of Pediculosis capitis are usually called head lice. In the adult form, morphologically, it looks like a sesame seed and has stained to grayish-white in color and sometimes appear darker. The species also has 3 pairs of legs, and each of legs equipped with claws. Next, the morphology of Musca domestica, a non-blood-sucking flies. The color is red, but often found gray in thorax, with 4 dark stripes longitudinally and gray or yellow in their abdomens with irregular darker median line. Now let's talk about life cycle. For example, the life cycle of Aedes albopictus, this fly has 4 stages of life, including egg, larva, pupa, and adult form, and it needs water to develop itself. Next, the life cycle of Pediculus humanis capitis has 3 stages of life, including egg, nymph, and adult stage. The egg stage on the hair shaft near to the scalp. And next, the metamorphosis of non-blood-sucking fly is not very different from a blood-sucking fly. For example, Musca domestica. It consists of egg, larva, pupa, and adult stages. Not only do they have a different life cycle, each fly also has a different pathogenesis. For example, leishmaniasis. This fly sucks blood from the infected vertebrae and absorb the amastigotes, and eventually the amastigotes multiply and transform into promastigote. They migrate and parasite are set into the skin of the host. The parasite will manipulate macrophage and there is no immune response to the parasite and infects the cells. And for the non-blood-sucking flies, usually they transmit pathogens through pathogens that attach to their body surfaces, and also it can be transmitted through vomits or feces. Diseases from flies can be prevented by covering any part of exposed skin, applying insect repellent, and maintain a good air circulation, insecticides, thermal fogging, bed nets, and most importantly, hygienes always need to be maintained. And there are plenty of treatments that can be done for both blood and non-blood sucking flies. The most common one is ice application and systemic antihistamine. That's it from me. Thank you.
Hello teacher and friends, my name is Glenna Felicia Den with the student number 21025111110, and I'm going to conclude all our discussions into suggestions. Next please. So the suggestions for this paper is for further research for researchers about these blood and non-blood sucking flies, especially in developing countries, with more targeted treatment and prevention. It's also suggested by our writers that to eliminate these diseases, we need also a contribution from the public and socialization, education in these developing countries about sanitation, airflow, the airflow of the place, wearing proper coats in certain areas, and also wearing repellents. And thus this will contribute in stopping the chains of these vector-borne diseases by flies. Thank you so much for listening to our SGD presentations about blood and non-blood sucking flies. I hope you have a good day and see you.